Monster Hunter has been to many an impenetrable wall of steel. With World, it finally seems to have caught on to the mainstream outside of Japan, thanks to a lot of quality of life features and some tweaks that make the game just feel a little better. The biggest gripe people seem to have is the way the game handles online. However, I think the online, while spotty, has some good reason to exist in its current state. With this video, I'd like to explain why the game's multiplayer is structured the way it is. The biggest thing I see is people having trouble joining their friends. In Monster Hunter 4, you had story missions which were single player and a separate lobby where your friends could gather to fight. Remember that the series had been stuck on less powerful hardware and hasn't always been online. The portable nature of the games made it a hit in Japan where people can play in transit to school or work. You would just team up with the people around you. World seems to make a half step between missions that are only single player and missions that are multiplayer. Doing this, they took some influence from the Souls series. And I know what you're thinking, but hold on, this is legit similarity. World has main missions where you can play together only after you have found the monster and watch the cutscene. Basically, you summon support via SOS flare if it gets too rough, but another player isn't just right there to carry you from the start of the mission. Since you can't have another player there right away, you alone need to search for the monster. Once the monster is found, you can try it alone. Maybe you don't actually need the help from another player. But if you do, the help is there, so it can serve as a crutch for newer players or players that are ill-prepared for the fight. It also has the side effect of letting the player on their own learn the tells of the new monster they just met, instead of just automatically being matched with someone who is way more prepared for the fight, and who will take out all of the discovery which makes each fight so exciting. If you ever played a game with run-based fights before, like an MMO, you might know what I'm talking about. From personal experience, the end of Final Fantasy XIV has a multi-phase boss dungeon. I was watching the second cutscene, while people who had ran the fight hundreds of times before were like 6 phases ahead of me. I didn't really fight anything, and it was a terrible experience for someone who wanted to both watch the cutscenes and participate in the fights. Also, the player is prevented from joining up with players fighting monsters way past their hunter rank. Due to Monster Hunter's unique design, it's important to ease players into fights that are increasingly more difficult. You wouldn't want players in low rank to fight monsters in the high rank. It would just be far too difficult for most players until they were acquainted with more difficult monsters. All other non-main quests work like the old multiplayer ones, but they have actually improved. Older games did not allow others to join mid-hunt, meaning you'd be waiting in the hunting hall until everyone readies up. If you don't like that you can't see people in Astera, just go to the Gathering Hall to hang out, show off your gear, and do a little bit of arm wrestling. That's how it's always been, though the ability to accept a quest pretty much anywhere makes the hall obsolete, which takes a bit of the personality away since you aren't forced to go there to accept multiplayer missions. Compared to before, it's just a whole lot easier to join other players online. Capcom has loosened the leash, but they are still holding on to prevent players from going wild. Ultimately, this seemingly backwards decision to structure the multiplayer in such a manner is actually kind of a brilliant decision on Capcom's part. I think that deserves a reward. In the comments below, let me know what you think about the changes in Monster Hunter World. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and follow me on Twitter at QNottle or on Twitch at twitch.tv/QuantumNottle. Happy hunting.